Okay, yeah. So after that absolute disaster, we're back live and we've managed to catch up with Cory on the laptop. We're just going to film it as he walks us around his Mark III. See, there's Autostad back in with Mike. So, Dog Pizza, Mike Poley. Just give this a wee second to let people back in again. So, a lot of you are saying just to interview Cory, and unless he's beautiful, don't worry about the picture. But he, as I said to him there, he isn't beautiful, but the car is, so we're going to want to capture that. Yeah, I believe we're back. People are starting to fill in again now. Cory's providing the background music for us. So, yeah, I think we'll flick it around and go from there.
There's that beautiful Mark III.
Yeah, that's a strange looking Mark III, Cory.
That's a beautiful Mark III.
There's a few Mark IIIs we've seen like that around here. Do you know what? It's bad enough that we get those, but you have to import one.
I didn't import that one. I bought that one.
Yeah, well, that's even worse. You chose that.
There's three.
Ah, there she is. Very nice. So, what's the story behind this one?
So this used to belong. So my buddy Eric Heichman owned a silver GTI that was featured in Eurotuner many years ago, probably 15 years ago. And the motor that was in this car before I blew it up was this whole kit was Heichman's, except for a lot of stuff that's been changed, obviously.
Uh-huh.
The car was basically it was a silver GTI that he wrecked into a tree at about 130, was ejected from the car, spent 6 months in the hospital, walked away from the hospital with just some cuts and bruises, but he had a massive concussion and some brain bleeding, and I think he lost about 60 pounds. He was a pretty big guy, and I helped him build that car, and then he bought this shell. I don't know where it came from, and had the complete car resprayed, and then swapped all the Vr6 stuff from his silver car that he got back from the scrapyard into this car.
Uh-huh.
And this car sat in his garage for 10 years. He didn't really drive it. He started getting into Porsches, and jokingly, I had called him and I said, "Hey, what's the deal with that Jazz Blue car?" And he says, "If you want it, you can have it." I'm like, "Really?" I'm like, "How much?" It's like $5,000. I quickly shot him a PayPal, bought the car immediately,
I'd say
and then drove down, and it flew down to PA. He picked us up, and then I drove it back. And that's when my bank account went down. I decided to start looking for all the stuff that I wanted as a kid growing up in the Mark III scene because, I graduated high school in 92, and Mark IIs were just being done, and I was a big Rabbit fan. But then I moved to Germany, and I bought my first Rabbit, and then I fell in love with Volkswagen. And when I came back, I was a Mark III kid. I bought this car, like I said, $5,000. That is not even close to what I have into it anymore.
No.
The ABT wheels that are on the car were actually on my Corrado, and they were copper plated in the center. The lips are original. I had them redone by Nick at Nick's Blasting and Powder Coating. I forget how he say it, MPG or whatever he says.
Nick does some great work.
Anyway, he does amazing work. And then I reached out to Momentum for the brake upgrade, which is the whole front end of the brake system on this car to tuck these wheels a little bit better so they're nice and flush with the fenders. I used all Mark II stuff. I used Mark III 2-liter spindles, Mark III Vr6 hubs and bearings. I took Mark II axles and I switched the inners and outers and put Vr6 on them so they were shorter, and then used early diesel Mark II control arms, which then shortened the front end a full 1 inch. Don't mind this. This is just a piece of paper on the front end of the car. I sourced the ABT headlights from Albert von Baren from the UK. Eric Mueller helped me with a lot of stuff. I found the lip and the side skirts in Ohio. Adam Hurt hooked me up with making sure that happened. The Projexo mirrors, they came from Steven down in Virginia. They're actual repops. And if you look, you can see the Projexo on them. And then underneath, they have the signage right here.
Yeah.
They're an absolute true replica. The only way you can tell the difference is they're 10 grams more. I got R32 rear brakes that I haven't put on yet because I've been aggravated with everything else in the motor bay. It's got the crystal black smoke tails. It's got all the true ABT badging. It has the real dual ABT matching tips. They are resonated on the inside. Those tips were the hardest thing to get for this car besides the floor mats. I had to buy a bunch of tips to make a set. I won't get into the cost of those, but it was more than a shifter.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was a bad decision, but whatever.
Yeah,
it completed the car.
Yep.
I still got to finish the gauge here, the wideband air fuel, but it has all the ABT pedals. It has the ABT cluster. It has a Koenig Racing steering wheel adapter. It's got the Hot Wheels 50th anniversary Prototipo wheel. It's got the CAE shifter for the O2A transmission. Kip Love did the center console. The headliner is the matching original color, but it's wrapped in suede. It's got the Y-Tech bar in it. Suede boot. It's got factory ABT floor mats. It's got ABT door pins. It's got the Euro hatch, the ABT rear badging, the Votex rear lip. The seats were color matched black, and then they were retrimmed. These are actual original number one, I guess you would call them. There's, they changed the design in the second edition.
Yeah.
These came from Jeff Bynum, and they were actually sitting in a basement in Pennsylvania. And they came with the original bases and everything. They still have all the original stickers on them. They're pretty minty fresh. I got to bake the leather out a little bit because it's a little wrinkled from just sitting in the cold.
Uh-huh.
I mean, obviously it's up here. Kip Love also did the dash with the blue suede stitch, and it's all perforated. He's in the process of currently doing my door panels, which are going to have 3 lines down the center. They're going to be perforated suede. These are going to get wrapped in suede. And then he's doing the blue top stitch in them. It's rolling on WRD USA suspension. The power steering bottle has been relocated, tucked down in behind, right in here. It's kind of a bastard to fill, but once it's full, you don't really need to do anything with it unless it leaks. Intercooler uses the vibrant quick disconnect hoses, so you could just pull this pin out. These things flip open, and you can disconnect the intercooler pipes.
What do you think of those? Are they a good job?
Oh, I love them. I wouldn't use the only thing I use silicone on is the supercharger and the throttle body, only because the supercharger could screw me, and so could the throttle body. So I didn't want to spend the money on those things like $150 to $200 a piece.
Yeah,
they seal like tennis. You don't get any problems with them whatsoever. I also did the HEP performance intake manifold, as you can see, and then I had it laser engraved with ABT. Mm-hmm. All the fuel rails, I'll billet. I used wire. I forget the name of the company. I can look it up quick if somebody has questions about this stuff. But it's fire retardant, and it's Velcro to seal all the ugly hoses and stuff like that. It's on MS3 Pro standalone, which I'm waiting on spoon-fed tuning if they'd ever get their shit together to get my hex carbon fiber rain tray. So it's just temporarily in here, and then I got to build out something for the wire rat nest that's underneath there for the MS3 Pro, which uses an additional spark arrestor for the coil pack to give it more power. The motor's completely built, and it's built for 8 to 1,000 horsepower. all ARP studs and fasteners, all King Racing bearings. Everything's clearanced. Everything's been balanced. Everything's been blueprinted. It's got the Autotech bar, which I color matched. I have the pipes custom made by a guy that does furniture, believe it or not, builds staircases, and he's just super talented. He made this bracket to hold the pipe up so it doesn't fall and doesn't rattle around. I still got to put a couple screws in there and finish that up. What else have I done? I mean, it's an ongoing thing. I mean, there's so much stuff that I forget.
Yeah, it's one of those cars that just continually evolves. Even before this, you had the Charger on without the charge cooler. It was straight into the throttle body before when I last seen it.
Yes.
So
yeah, it had the original Vr6 Manifold on it. And I found that manifold from Candy White Sniff, which is what he goes by on Vortex, but yep. Joe Couts had it, and I purchased that from him. I've got 2 or 3 sets of headlights. I've got a couple grills. I've got extra lips. I've got extra sets of mirrors. I actually have the original molds for the ABT mirrors and the original molds for the Projexo mirrors. Mm-hmm. And I purchased all that stuff just because I knew how hard this stuff was to get. And I figured if I can repop them, I can make some of my money back on this stinking car.
Yeah, it's very rare you can do that.
Yeah, I mean, the car is nuts. It's a blast to drive. I've been working out a lot of bugs on it over the last couple of days. You know, I had a oil return hose go bad on me, and it's pissed oil all over the motor. Trying to fit the throttle body in with the radiator fans, because I still use the factory Vr6 radiator fans, which you knew was a pain in the ass. Getting the speed wing to stay on, that was a pain in the ass. Waiting on the spoon fed tuning's been a pain in the ass. You know, it's just you got to try and not get discouraged when you're building a car like this. Because a lot of the parts are really hard to get, like the front brakes, you know, sorting through the front brakes is just an absolute pain in my ass.
Yeah, you had a lot of trouble with it.
Trying to find the right control arms to fit in there, to try to find the right ball joint, to find the right tie rod end. I mean, I have it all wrote down, so if anybody has any questions or anything or wants to narrow their front end, I can certainly tell them exactly what to do and save them a ton of aggravation.
Yeah. Well, Mike's saying there, I think you already covered it, but what suspension are you running with?
WRD USA. It's a company out of Vegas that's been building, you know, just moderate line, you know, cheaper level suspensions. I don't really plan on beating the living sin out of this through corners and stuff like that. So I just put on a suspension that I've used. Like my Mark II is on the silver ship box is what I call this thing, the Mark II. This is on WRD USA. The suspension for that is $399. Mm-hmm. It comes with a 3-year warranty. It's great suspension. I mean, we took this thing, me and JC took this thing out yesterday and pounded the living sin out of it. And then on my Rabbit on my Rabbit, I have SoloWorks. Yeah. So we have a few more options than you guys do over in the UK because everybody wants to build suspension because everybody wants to be like the superstar.
Yep.
But, you know, it is what it is.
I see there's a request as well for the Velcro wiring you were saying about, so I'll get that off you and I can post it up to the guys.
Yeah, that's Wire Care.
Wire Care,
hang on, I'm going to stick the camera.
Is that the stuff that Nick uses on his Mark II?
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's the stuff that Nick uses on his. Wirecare.com, Lafayette, New Jersey. Great stuff, man. I love it. Here's just a small piece of it, but I'll open it up. But as you can see, it's just Velcroed on the inside, mm-hmm. and it rolls together, and it stays a nice form, and it's fire retardant.
Very good, yeah.
And they have all kinds of different kinds. They have flat, they have round, they have all. I mean, if you go to WireCare, you can get any connector you need for anything in your car, and you can pin it out and put new stuff in.
Yeah. No, that's perfect. I see Nigel saying there, what horsepower is the Mark III? I probably don't know yet, do you?
I don't know, but I would say it's going to be in the... If I had to guess, I would say it'll be no less than 350, 375.
Lovely.
But with the MS3, with the MS3 Pro, we've been kicking it around somewhere, I would say somewhere to 450 range, dialed in and tuned correctly.
Excellent. No, you couldn't be bad at that. Have you a diff or anything in the gearbox or standard gearbox?
Yeah. It's got a fully built gearbox with a Quaife differential, and it has a South Bend Stage 3 clutch.
Excellent. Plenty. Put the power down.
I mean, this thing loves to rip tire off in like first, second, and third gear, like it's its job.
I know you like to let it. I've seen you driving it.
Yeah, I mean, I do burnouts for Jesus on a daily basis. Yep. I try to, at least.
So all this work then, we'll probably move on then. All this work, most of it's done by yourself through your company, the VW Garage, isn't that right?
Yeah, all the work I've done myself. The only thing that I didn't do was the intercooler pipes. That was done, like I said, by my buddy Bill Bruce, who does some really, really awesome stuff. But he doesn't really do things for the public. Per se, he doesn't do like intercooler pipes every day. He doesn't do them at all. He's a dude a little bit older than me that likes Vanagons, and I fix his Vanagon and his Euro vans. And I said, "Can you build my pipes?" And he's like, "Yeah, I guess I'll do it." And I was like, "Thanks, man. I really appreciate it because I know it'll come out great." And it came out awesome. I mean, he wasn't too thrilled about it. He bitched to me about it the whole time he was doing it because it was a real pain in the ass because of the location of where the intercooler was, but whatever. He'll get over it.
Yeah, it'll be fine. As long as you get your product, you're happy enough.
Yeah. I mean, I could just stare at this car all day long.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just so happy with the outcome of it. I mean, it's absolutely the way I wanted it. And I mean, I even have the ABT wide body for it, and I can't bring myself to do anything with it. I can't do it. I can't put it on the car. I think it'll ruin the car.
Yeah, it's a serious amount of work. Are they plastic or fiberglass, am I right in saying?
This is kind of like plastic. It's kind of almost like the composite stuff they use for the mirrors. It's really hard. Mm-hmm. But I sent the kit it was a brand new kit in a box, and somebody was trying to put it on a 4-door. So they cut one of the dog legs on it to test fit it. So I had to send it to a shop, and I actually sent it to a boat shop because those guys specialize in gel coat and they specialize in that stuff.
Yeah. And
I wanted to structurally resound the kit because it's so old, and over time that stuff shrinks. So he went ahead and Jack Dean actually sent it out to a guy that he knows, and they reglassed it and put it back together, and it looks great.
Brilliant.
But right now I'm currently searching for another Mark III that I can build because I have all these extra parts. I have the Kinesis wheels. I have, all the ABT parts that I have, extra mirrors and seats. I have another set of Recaro SRDs. And I think I'm going to do another Mark III wide body and just park it next to this one.
Yeah, I think it's too good of a car to take a chance on it. I don't think I've ever seen any of those kits that over time don't start to fail, or you see cracks appearing where it's blended into like metalwork and things like that. It's not something I'd be keen on doing.
Yeah, and I mean, being that it's a Jazz Blue card, it's a real Jazz Blue card, it's a real driver's edition. It's like the fenders on this car aren't even rolled, and to go to that level, that basically like to try and just gain maybe a few more likes on Instagram or just a few more drools here in the public eye. I'm not willing to do that. It's kind of like taking a Porsche and putting an RWB kit on it. It's like, why would you do that to a Porsche?
Exactly. I haven't to hear you say that.
Now your whole fucking garage smells like cigarettes, Marlboro Reds, and fucking in Coke can.
Yeah, don't start me on that guy. He's a disaster.
Yeah, that's why we have COVID, because he kept cutting up fucking Porsches, that asshole.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, dear. I see Mike there saying, can we hear the car? Can you start the car?
Yeah, oh yeah. I'll gladly start it. Hang on. I'll switch my camera back around. Oh. I just wait for the fuel pump to fire up.
No worries. Yeah, that sounds good. That takes me back to York.
Oh, I can't wait. My neighbors hate me. I've done this about 65 times since 7:30 this morning.
What charger is that you're running?
I can hear nothing right now, so hang on. I'll shut it down. So I also have relocated, obviously, the battery to the trunk, and there's a really great kit online. I have to get that information as well. It comes with everything you need. I made a base plate for this intercooler.
Yeah, looks good.
I just templated it out of cardboard and built it out of like wooden cardboard, and then I gave it to Bill. And as you can see, it's got 0 gauge wire that runs from the front to the back, and then it mates to the starter, and then it has all your computer electronics that are all in it. It's all wrapped nice. It's, fixed out the proper fasteners, and it holds the intercooler really well, so it doesn't move anywhere.
Yeah, no, that's good. You don't want that flopping around.
No, I would rather not have to repaint that. So, trying to think what else I got on here. I got a Mark 6 catch can that I got off a car. A kid bought it from ECS Tuning, which is funny because he actually got the part. ECS doesn't like to send anything, and I can test to that because I own a business and I deal with them on a daily basis.
Yeah, they're not too fond of giving you your parts.
Right. I had my buddy Cody weld the valve cover up with the AN fittings, and then I made all the AN hoses, all the AN fuel hoses I made. I'm actually using the factory fuel pressurizer. 034 Motorsports makes this adapter for it, so you can use the rising rate fuel pressure regulators, so you don't have to get one of the fancy schmancy ones and then try to figure out where the hell you're going to mount that to. It was a really nice piece. It's like $60 and it works flawlessly. And it has a Super Sprint header on it with the original header cover, which was an absolute nightmare to find.
Yeah, they're probably.
And if you look straight down inside the engine bay, somebody put my face sticker in there. Yeah. And I refuse to remove it as it makes me chuckle every time I see myself inside my engine bay. Yeah,
for those that don't know you, your friends have a lot of stickers made up of your face, and they tend to plant them all around the place. Jack posted me an envelope recently with quite a few of them, so when the lockdown lifts here, we'll start spreading your face around. You'll be worse than coronavirus.
Yeah, I'm kind of like herpes.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to describe you.
But I'll be back. Don't worry.
Very good. So your business then, the VW Garage, you kind of gained a reputation then for attempting things that most others won't. You told me before, you told the guys you turn nothing away and we'll take on any kind of work. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, we our biggest claim to fame. See, let me turn this camera around. This is where the VW Garage started, right here.
Okay, is your home?
I have a small garage that has engineered trusses. You can kind of see it.
Yeah.
We got together on a Saturday and started drinking, and we decided we're just going to cut these trusses out and we're going to re-engineer the garage so we can put a lift in it.
Of course, yeah.
And as time went on, we did it, and it all started here. And then some of the cars that I've built in the past, that was my Mark III. There's a picture. It's hard to see because this thing's delaminating itself, but there's a picture of me when I was young.
That's a long time ago.
That was a very long time ago. This was August of 2005. I did a smooth bay, and then I had it airbrushed with flames.
Of course.
And then you really can't see it in the picture, but there were ghost flames in the doors.
Yeah.
And also in the hood. And then what's really funny is the silver GTI that now is the blue GTI that got wrecked is right here.
Ah, yes. That's the one your friend was thrown from?
Yep, that's it right there. And that's the engine right there.
Brilliant.
So that's basically how it looked inside my car. That was featured in Eurotuner. The original motor that I blew up was sitting right here.
That's one of many.
next to the table. And then I kept the head gasket as a constant reminder to make sure you have the proper fueling in cylinder 1.
Yeah. Was that last year that happened, or the year before, was it?
That was Easter Sunday.
Lovely.
My brother-in-law and I had been drinking a little bit, and he's like, let's go take the blue car for a rip. I'm like, okay, let's do it. He's like, what's this thing? What can it do? I'm like, oh yeah, I can do all kinds of fun shit. Let's go. So we took it, ripped it down the street. I got in the top of 4th gear, and I started feeling like a power loss, and I was like, wow, that's weird. I'm only at like a quarter throttle, and this thing should be pulling hard. And I turned around and look, and you can't see the road behind us. It completely destroyed the head gasket, melted the piston, blew coolant all through it. We just turned around and drove it home with that. And then I pulled it in the garage, and I tore it down. I put a new used piston back in that cylinder, rebolted it back together, and was ready to go for New England dust off. Drove it to New England dust off. It was running fine. It had a little bit of blow by, but as time grew on, the cylinder wall, I guess, had some damage to it that I didn't catch. And at Vag Fair on the way home last year in Maine, the engine just lost all shit. I parked it at my shop. I towed it home. I bought another motor from Zach Martin, who owns a drag car that we just painted. If you follow along on my Instagram at Tracer Turbo, or you look at Facebook, follow the VW Garage, you'll see that car in there. We just had a new cage done. We actually bought a new car. Well, we didn't buy a new car. He bought a new car. We painted it jazz blue, believe it or not.
Yeah, because you have a lot of jazz blue laying around.
Yeah, we like to spread the COVID, so we paint everything jazz blue. And that car went 878 or 874 at 162 miles an hour.
Lovely. Yeah, he's doing
That's
some impressive times. 1,000 horsepower?
Yeah. It's over 1,000, yeah.
What is that, a VR6 as well?
Yeah, that's a 12-valve VR6. It was a 2.8 liter. And this year we're having motors built by Colin at Tectonics and a couple guys from New Jersey. And we should be running a 300 lift cam in that. And so I think we're going to solid lifter head, because we were floating the valve so hard that it was breaking through the top of the lifter tappet. And then we went to 3 liter because we're trying to beat the world record. Currently the car's the fastest it's ever been. We beat the record that it held before. But we're going to try and shoot for low 8s, high 7s with that car this year, if they open the tracks up.
Well, I know Donkey Tech, we were talking about this in today's recording, Donkey Tech in Germany are running like mid-8s with 1,400 horsepower with 4-wheel drive, so is a hefty competition there.
Yeah, we had a discussion at the end of the season last year about getting that car over there to race against a couple guys over there. There's a company over there that wants us to bring the car over because it's never been done, as far as I know, that anybody from America has ever brought a car to either England, Germany, or Ireland to race in bracket racing competitions. So we're going to see about getting the car. We're currently putting it back together right now. Zach should probably have the motor and stuff in this weekend. And just get the car back together, because the last pass we did at the World Cup Finals, it almost tore the car in half. Yeah,
that was the reason for the shell change, wasn't it?
Yeah. It started tearing the subframe right out of the floor, and it was separating the floor and the firewall from the dog leg. And had he made one more pass, it would have probably tore the car in half.
Yeah, that's a good choice to change that then.
Yeah, I mean, we were set. He sent it out to have a new cage put in, a Dolco steel cage put in it. And when the guy cut the old cage out to put the new cage in, he found all the damage on the floor where all the seam welds and all the pinch welds were just tore right out. And there was no fixing it. The whole car was kind of shifted to the left. So we were just like, well, we'll bail on this. So we went to a lightweight shell now. The shell's even lighter. I think it's 600 or 700 pounds lighter.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
Yeah, so that car should fucking rip. But anyway, back to the VW Garage. the biggest thing we just did lately was we took a 2012 B8 Audi wagon and bought a B8 Audi S4, and we took all the guts out of it, sport diff, DSG, supercharged 3-liter, and put everything into the Audi, and then recoated the whole thing, and it's zero check engine lights, 100% drivability. We updated the MMI to 8.5, recoated all that, got rid of all the component protection, got the S4, instrument clustering, key capture, ECU, everything works and talks. And we did that swap in about a week.
Yeah, I was following along that. You were posting a lot of the information about it on the Facebook page, and it was impressive how quick you got through it.
Yeah, Casey and the guys in the shop really killed it on that one. I mean, I can't really take much credit for any handiwork on it, except for maybe wiring some CAN bus stuff up and helping them, just talking them through it and kind of being a coach to them. I bring my guys in Casey has really slim to no Volkswagen or Audi experience. And
he's a Ford guy.
He came to me and he was like, he's a Ford Master Tech, right?
Yeah.
And I try to give them all the information that they need. I mean, we have direct with Audi, we're direct with Volkswagen for all kinds of computer information because we share it with our other techs that don't work for us but work for dealers that call us for problems, or we call them for issues. So we have our fingers in quite a bit of stuff in the information pipeline. And then Chris Avantagio, who owns that car, he did a year's worth of research before he was able to con me into doing it, because I was like, look, man, I don't want to get involved with this without knowing every single aspect of it. I mean, we researched the shit out of that swap.
Yeah.
And now that car should be 500 horsepower. It's insane. It's got ultracharger, ported charger, 100 millimeter Hemi throttle body, full header, full cat delete, full exhaust. It's got RS6 front brakes, RS5 rear brakes. The entire interior has been swapped over. I started on that car 2.5 years ago, and I did a KO4 swap.
Uh-huh.
And it all started with just doing a sunroof blind. He wanted to go to a black sunroof blind. So he calls me and he's like, hey, can you do black sunroof blind? I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. And then it just snowballed into, can you do this? Can you do that? Can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? And that kind of relit my fire of building a car, because I hadn't built a car in probably, the last time I built a car was '08. That was my Silver Jetta.
Yeah, you still have it?
And I just, yeah, oh yeah. It's sitting in the barn down in Pennsylvania. I was just down there and looked at it the other day, and I was grabbing some parts out of the shop down there to, sell up here and put to use on some other cars that I'm doing now. But this kind of that car kind of rekindled my fire to build a car, and that's, obviously the blue car's where we're at now.
That's brilliant, yeah. It's cool you can do things for customers like that and then take inspiration for your own builds.
Yeah, and a lot of my creativity, spills over to them, and they're like, well, what do you think about this? And what do you think about that? We're doing a car for a kid now, Tyler Libby. He's a really great customer, good kid, young kid, not a shithead, doesn't talk shit, although we'll teach him how to do that.
Oh, of course.
He's just a really good kid, man, and he works hard, and he spends his money wisely. I've done a lot of work on his car, and he's had to pay me over time, and he's always paid me. He's never screwed me. We just took his car down and tore it all apart, and he's getting it wrapped right now. And it's a B7 A4. And he asked me, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And it's nice to be able to share that. I guess as I get older, I get to become more of I hate to say mentor, because nobody should mentor me. But a mentor to these kids, these young guys coming up through the ranks of, just wanting to be, competitive, whether it be in the show car scene or competitive on Instagram or whatever you want to call it, with just a passion. You can see the passion in some of these kids, and then you can just see the competitiveness in some of the kids. And
yeah.
I gravitate more towards the passion for the car, or the passion for the company.
Yeah, because you've been there, you've done it over the years, you've seen all the bullshit. You know what it's really about.
Oh yeah, I've seen the clicks. I've seen the kids that talk shit on the other kids because they don't have the right wheels or they don't like their car. You know what? At the end of the day, you just gotta like the person for the fact that they share the same fucking interests you do.
Exactly. Yeah.
Why? You could not like something. It's like your mother always said: if you had nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. And I come across brutally honest.
Yeah.
And if I don't like something, it's be like, I've always had people come up to me at car shows and say, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And I'm like, I don't like that. Like I called some guy out with a B8, not a B8, it was a B. I think it was a B5 S4 wagon, and he had fake ABT badges on it. And I walked up to him and I was like, "Look, man, I'm not trying to come off like a dick, but I'm gonna tell you the truth. Get rid of those eBay ABT badges because it really just irritates me. If you want the real stuff, I'll show you where to get it, and I'll help you get it, and I'll do whatever I can to help you get it at the cheapest price possible. But man, you look like a fool with those fake ABT badges on it." And I receptively took it very well, which is surprising because I was drinking a little bit, and I tend to get a little bit more vocal when I drink.
Oh, I know.
And I have since quit drinking in November. I haven't had a lick of alcohol since.
What?
Which is, I have not drank any booze since Thanksgiving Day.
That explains the productiveness.
I just got tired of it.
Yeah, fair enough.
I was, I drank tons of IPAs. You know me. I know beer inside and out. And I was just like, you know what? It was starting to all melt together. So it's like, screw this, and I'm done with it.
Yeah, you've had your fill of it.
Yeah, but when you get back over here, I'll crack a beer with you.
That's good. Yeah, well, if you don't, I'll drink enough for both of us.
Oh, don't worry. I will drink. Because, John Hamm will be there, too. So.
Oh, he'll drink.
I can't. I got to drink with John. You know that.
Back to sociable drinking, then?
Yeah.
Excellent. Oh, dear. Right, well, Cory, I think we'll leave it there. Do you want to hang on the line there, and I'll chat to you after this? Just want to sign off, that do?
Okay.
Lovely, thank you. So, yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed that. There's Cory all the way from Maine, USA, and it's great seeing around his Jazz Blue ABT MK3. They build some amazing cars over there, and hopefully we can get a few more guys on from over there, and they can show stuff that you don't really get to see, and we can show ours, and they can see what we build over here. But thanks very much for your time. I'll catch us again.